we are coming to standing. Bring those feet together, heels come out, toes come out to meet the little rock, making sure that weight is evenly distributed. Then you're going to interlace your fingers, bring your arms above your head. Start with a little circle above your head. So just mobilizing through those shoulders, waking up that back. Then taking it in the other direction. Now we're going to make that circle bigger, so we're going to start to let your back and core get involved. Think belly button to spine, core engaged, pelvic floor onto on floor 3 of that lift, notch 3 of that belt, and then taking it in the other direction. Bringing everything from your hips down nice and still. And then coming back to standing and bringing those arms back down. Okay, from here, thinking about our lower half. So you're going to take your bum backwards, chest comes forward slightly, and we're going to come down into that squat position. Core engaged, make sure your knees are behind your toes, and then from here we're going to do a little heel lift and a little heel lift. Making sure you're not rocking from side to side, 2 little heel lifts, and then pushing back through your whole foot back to standing. Core engaged, bum goes backwards, chest comes forward, little lifts. And then pushing back up. Core engaged, we're going to do 2 more of those. Shoulder blades back and down, little lifts through those heels. And pushing back up, final one, core engaged, bum goes backwards, chest comes forward, and lift. And lift, and lift, and back to the top. Okay, then from here, core engaged. Going to do the same thing, so we're coming down into that imaginary chair, but this time you're going to take the weight into your left leg and take your right leg out behind you. Check that your leg is in alignment, and then from here we're going to slide it in, tap forward, tap to the middle, slide it back. In, forward, middle, back. Core engaged, in, forward, middle, back. Make sure that leg is traveling in a nice straight line forward and back. And you're building strength in that supporting leg. At the same time, this is just alleviating any stickiness in that lower back. Core engaged. Keep your chin pointing towards the floor. Final one. And then coming back up, and we're going to do the other side. Core engaged. Bum goes backwards, chest comes forward, weight goes into that right leg, the left leg comes out behind you, and then we're coming in and tap, and in and back. Core engaged, belly button to spine. Make sure you've brought your upper body forward enough to kind of counterbalance that leg moving. Thinking belly button to spine, core engaged, shoulder blades back and down. And final 2. And final 1. And then coming back up and giving those legs a little wiggle if they need it. Okay, from here we're going to move on to our roll downs. So we're coming to the end of our mat. Feet are underneath you, knees soft, core engaged. We're going to do 2 with nothing and then 3 with press up. So we're taking an inhale at the top. Exhale, tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head, slowly rolling down 1 vertebrae at a time. Nice slow control. Roll to the floor. And get to the bottom. Soft knees, taking an inhale. And then exhale, tucking your pelvis back underneath you, keeping your ribs connected to your hips, and then slowly restacking back to standing. Holding at the top for an inhale. And exhale. Slowly rolling back down. So we're going to do 2 after this with a press up and tricep press mixture. So taking an inhale at the bottom. Exhale, tucking your chin, leading back up one vertebrae at a time, slow and controlled to the top. Holding at the top for an inhale. And you're going to exhale, tuck your chin, lead with the crown of your head, and this time we're coming down and we're going to do up to 4 press-ups and up to 4 tricep press-ups. So you're coming to the floor, walking your hands forward into your press-up position. Now, if you're doing a 3/4 press-up, you're bringing your knees to the floor. If not, keeping those knees off. Make sure you're not sagging in the middle, core engaged. Go to 4 press-ups. So head goes forward, elbows go backwards. You're making yourself into an arrow. And now we're going to do 4 tricep press-ups. So just turning your hands so your elbows are going to graze the side of your body, core engaged. And 3, and 4. And then walking your hands back in, making yourself into a tiny ball, heels to the floor, legs come to straight, take an inhale. And then exhale, tucking that pelvis back underneath you, keeping your ribs connected to your hips and slowly restacking back to standing. Final one of those. Taking an inhale at the top. Exhale, tucking that chin, leading with the crown of your head, mobilizing through each of those vertebrae. Keep thinking shoulder blades back and down, arms are just hanging out, doing their own thing. When you get to the floor, try and keep those heels on the floor for as long as you can, so you stretch out through those calves into your press up. Remember, knees to the floor, make sure you brought your pelvis forward or into your full press up. Core engaged, 4 press ups. So you're making yourself into an arrow. Head goes forward, elbows backwards. Final press up. Then bring your knees to the floor. And if you're uber strong, you can do a tricep press up in that full plank position. I can't do that. So core engaged. I probably could, actually I haven't tried. 2. Keep those elbows coming back to the side of your body. Remember, you don't have to go that low. So this is our final one. Then from here, coming into your child's pose and holding it there for a couple of breaths for me. I'm just going to get my water. I knew there was something I left on the table. So from your child's pose position, you're going to walk your hands around to the left hand side and stretch out through the right hand side of your back, holding it there for me. Then walking your hands back to the middle and walking your hands around to the right hand side, stretching out through the left hand side of your back for me. And then coming back to the middle. And we're coming into our first mat-based exercise. So we're going to do glute press. So thinking about that positioning, wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips, tilting that pelvis so your tailbone is pointing off towards the back wall. Remember, if this is hard on your wrists, you can make a fist. If it's hard on your knees, you can put a cushion underneath your knees. Core engaged. From here, we're going to just lift one leg into that donkey kick position. So sole of your foot to the floor. Check in with your hip. Make sure you haven't hip hitched. Then from here, we're doing 10 little raises to the ceiling. Now remember, as you raise, you're going to really engage those core muscles, keeping your trunk really still. So you're arching through your back as you raise, and it's a little movement. And we've got 5 more to go. Core engaged. Try and keep the weight even in the points that are still on the floor. 2, and final 1. Holding that leg there, core engaged. We're going to take that knee over to the left hand side. So you're just sliding that leg through the air to the other side. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged, pelvis stays nice and still. So remember, don't twist through your upper body. Keep your trunk still. Keep thinking rib to hip connection. Eye line stays down between your hands. Remember, if it gets a little bit too much, just take a little rest. We've got 4 more to go, doing really well. Keep it slow and controlled. And final 2. And final 1. Then this time I'm going to bring that leg down. If you can, just keep it hovering, don't let it drop to the floor yet. Or if you need to, have a little rest. Core engaged, and we're going out to the side. Belly button to spine. Focus on those core muscles. Try not to push everything into your wrists. Try and get some weight back over that supporting leg. Keep your eye line down at the floor, shoulder blades just melting down your back. And final 3, 2, and final 1. Then bring that leg back down, having a little wrist break, giving those wrists a little wiggle. And then we're going to do the other side. This way. So core engaged, making sure you're still in a good position. So wrist under your shoulder, knee under your hip, tilting that pelvis so your tailbone is pointing off towards the back wall. Trying to keep the weight even in those 3 points still on the floor, lifting that leg. Check in with that hip. Remember, keep your hips next to each other and then push to the ceiling. So I want you to imagine you've got a tray of drinks on your back, and if you move your spine, they're going to fall off. So you're just moving your leg in your hip joint and your back is staying really still for me. Core engaged, eye line down to the floor. I've completely lost count, but I think we're going to do 14. Final 2 and final 1. And then taking that leg over to the right hand side. So make sure you're not kind of moving your trunk, so try not to move from your waist. Think about moving from your hip. Core engaged, eye line stays down, trunk stays rock solid still. Belly button to spine, pelvic floor engaged. And we're halfway there, doing really, really well, guys. Well done. And final 3. Final 2. And final 1. And then bringing that leg down, hovering if you can, if not, have a little rest. Core engaged. And then we're going out to the side. Belly button to spine. Don't let that tray of drinks fall off your back. Keep your eye line down at the floor. And final 4, 3, core engaged, 2, and final 1. And then bringing that leg down, and we're going to go into our glute press stretch. So hands are staying on the floor, right leg is coming out behind you. Then you're going to slide that right leg over to the left hand side of your body and just slide yourself backwards onto your left side, holding it there for me. So we're going to hold this for roughly 30 seconds, but you could hold it for a lot longer if you wanted to. And tucking your back toes coming back into that box position, taking your left leg out behind you, sliding it over to the right hand side of your body, and then just leaning yourself back onto that right side, holding it there for me. And tucking that back toe, bringing yourself back up. And going to come into our dart. So, laying on your front. Toes are tucked in, so those glutes are off. Little cushion underneath your head, and you're going to bring your hands so they're palm up next to your sides. Now, we're going to do 4 of our normal darts, so just lifting your head, neck and shoulders, and then 4 where we take our arms out to the side and do 5 little pulses. If that isn't quite right for you today, just leave that out and just stick with your normal dart. So thinking about your setup, core engaged, eye line down at the floor, palms are facing up at the moment. Taking an inhale at the bottom, then you're going to exhale, bring your head, neck and shoulders off the floor and turn your palms into face your body. Hold it here for an inhale, core engaged, make sure you're not pushing yourself into the mat. And then exhale, slowly take yourself back to the floor. Core engaged, holding at the bottom for an inhale. And then exhale, slide those shoulder blades down your back, stretch those fingers out towards your toes. Hold it for an inhale. And then exhale, slowly with control, bringing it back to the floor. 2 more like that, core engaged, taking an inhale. And then exhale, sliding those arms down the back, holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale, slowly back to the floor. Final one like this, core engaged, inhaling at the bottom. Exhale, lift, bring those palms into they're facing your body, stretch your fingers out down towards your toes. Hold it for an inhale. And then exhale, slowly back to the mat. Okay, so either another 4 like that or adding in an arm lift and pulse. So you're going to inhale at the bottom. Exhale, head, neck and shoulders come up, palms come in to face your body. Either staying there for an inhale and then going down, or palms are facing the floor. Your hands are going to travel out so they're in line or just behind your shoulders. Then we're doing 5 raises higher. 4, 3, core engaged, 2, and 1. Turn your palms back so they're facing your body, bring your arms back to your sides, and then exhale down. Hold at the bottom for an inhale. Exhale up, hold it there, palms face the floor, bring them out to the side. 5 little pulses higher. 3, 2, 1. Palms back to the sides of your body, palms to the ceiling, head, neck and shoulders to the floor. 2 more like this, core engaged. Remember, if there's any discomfort in that lower back, take out the arm lift. Just don't come up so high. 2, 1, palms to the side of your body. Exhale, take yourself back to the mat. Final one here, taking an inhale. Exhale, stretching those arms away, palms down, out to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Palms back to the side of your body and back to the floor. Okay, from here, you're going to bring your right arm into your swan dive position. So elbow is in front of your shoulder. You're going to bring your left hand next to your left shoulder. You're going to bring your knees and ankles together and bring your feet up into the air. You're going to look towards the left and then you're going to roll your feet to the left. Apply a little bit of pressure through your left hand and take that stretch to the front of your right shoulder, holding it there for me. And bring the legs back to the middle. Going to bring your left arm into your swan dive position. So elbow is in front of your shoulder, right hand comes next to your right shoulder, looking towards the right. Take your feet over to the left and apply a little bit of pressure through that right hand so you get that stretch through your left shoulder for me. Holding it there. And then bring your legs back to the middle, feet to the floor, hands under your shoulders, push yourself back and bring yourself into your high knee position. Now if your knees don't like being like this, again, just place a little cushion under your knees, or if you've got a super squidgy mat, you could roll your super squidgy mat up as well. Making sure your knees are underneath you, core engaged, rib to hip connection, arms are coming out to the sides, shoulder blades back and down. Going to take an inhale here. I'm going to exhale and rotate to one side. Make sure your hips are facing forward and you haven't moved through your pelvis. And then from there, you're going to take the back arm to your back heel, if possible, if not just down, and your top arm comes up in the air. So we're taking a little hip flex stretch there, then you're going to come back to the top, rotate back to the middle, core engage, we're going the other way. Rotate, keeping that pelvis facing forward, and back, hold it there. Feel that stretch through your hip flexor, come back to the top and back to the middle, belly button to spine, other side, holding it at the back, then coming up, making sure those hips stay facing forward, back to the middle, other side, rotate and back, holding it there, and then coming up and back to the middle, and we're going on to our backs. So coming onto your back, the first thing we need to think about is that setup. So feet are facing forward, knees are in line with your feet and your hips. Remember, if your knees fall in, just place a cushion in between them, but then bring your feet so they're the same width apart. Core engaged, rib to hip connection. Thinking about that little gap under your lower back, make sure it stays there. Arms are just gently resting on the floor. From here, we're going to bring one leg to tabletop, knee comes to over your hip, shin is parallel with the ceiling. Core engaged. We're going to take that foot up to the ceiling, pointed toe. Then you're going to flex that foot towards your face, point it back to the ceiling, and then you're going to move it just as far away as you can without losing that core control, and then just bring it back in to tabletop. Then bring it back to the floor. Other leg comes up. Knee is over hip, shin is parallel with the ceiling, core engaged. Point to the ceiling, flex to your face. Point back to the ceiling, move it away as far as you can, and then bring it back to tabletop. So if you want to up it slightly, you're going to bring both legs into tabletop. Knees stay over your hips, shins parallel with the ceiling, core engaged. So we're going to point, flex, point, move away. Bring it back into the centre, other side, point, flex, point, move away. Think belly button to spine, core engaged. Remember, if you need to make it easier, don't move your foot quite so far away from your body before you bring it back into tabletop. Keep thinking belly button to spine, core engaged. We're going to do 2 more on each side, really working into controlling those core muscles. Stretching out through that hamstring as well. So it's a nice little bonus for you. Final 1 to each side. And final 1. And then 1 leg down and 2 legs down, and you can give yourself a full body stretch. Then from here, you're going to bring your feet back to the floor again, making sure they're in line with your hips and your knees, core engaged. And we're going to do shoulder bridge. So this is really good for stretching out through those quads, building strength in your hamstrings and glutes. Shoulders are just gently resting on the floor. We're going to take an inhale here. Then we're going to exhale, tuck your pelvis back underneath you and slowly roll up into your bridge. Making a ski slope when you get there. Weight is in your shoulders, not in your neck. Check in with that rib to hip connection. Make sure you haven't let those ribs flare up towards the ceiling. Holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale, and slowly, with control, we're going to take one vertebrae at a time back to the floor. So your pelvis is staying up to the ceiling for as long as possible. Rolling into your neutral, holding it here for an inhale, and then exhale, slowly rolling back up. This time when we get to the top, we're going to add in a little arm lift, so core engaged, rib to hip connection. Any shoulder issues, leave this one out. If not, going to bring those arms up and over your head. Check in with that rib to hip again, because it tends to be where you overarch your back, so just make sure you haven't done that. Then taking an inhale, leave your arms where they are. Exhale, slowly, with control, bring yourself back down. And it's a really nice back stretch, but if your shoulders for any reason are not happy about this, bring your arms back down. Rolling back into your neutral, and then bring your arms back to the floor. I'm going to do one more like that. So taking an inhale, exhale, rolling back up into your bridge, holding at the top. Inhale, bring your arms over your head, core engaged. Exhale, rolling slowly back to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Pelvis stays up for as long as possible. Then bringing your arms back over your head as you move your spine back into neutral. And this time we're going to go up and add in some things for our legs. So taking an inhale at the bottom. Exhale, slowly up into your bridge, holding it here. So from here, we're going to do 5 pulses higher and 5 knees out to the side. Now, if 5 is too many for you, just do the number that works for you. So we're going to start with our pulses. Remember, you need to be in bridge first, not from lower to bridge. That's cheating. So we're holding it here, and then we're going a little bit higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really working it into those glutes. Holding it here this time from bridge. Make sure you're not any lower. You're going to just take your knees out to the side. Feel that in the side of your glutes for up to 5. But if you need to, take a few out. Do what feels right for you today. Final 2. Final 1. Holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale. Slowly, with control, bringing yourself back to the mat. Okay, going to do one more like that. Taking an inhale at the bottom. Exhale. Slowly rolling back up into your bridge. When you get to the top, remember, check in with that rib to hip connection. Make sure you're in your ski slope position. From bridge, you're moving those hips higher for 5, or up to 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale, start taking those knees out to the side. So you don't have to take them really wide. And as you take your knees out to the side, make sure you don't drop down. So think about keeping up in bridge. Final 2 here. And final 1. And then holding it here for an inhale. And exhale. Slowly, with control, rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Keep thinking rib to hip flexion, pelvic floor engaged, core is on. Breathing, all of those things. Okay, from here, we're going to take our left leg out long. You're going to bring your right leg up so it's sitting on your left leg. And then you're going to guide your right leg over to the left-hand side of your body, holding it there for me. And then coming back to the middle. Taking your right leg out long, left leg comes up on top, and then guiding your left leg over to the right hand side of your body. And bringing that leg back to the middle, giving yourself a full body stretch. And then bringing your arms into the air, taking an inhale. Then exhale, tucking your chin and seeing if you can roll yourself back up to sitting. Remember, using those core muscles, not momentum, to get you to that sitting position. Final little stretch. Feet are coming out in front of you, left leg is coming up and over, right arm is wrapping around, looking towards the left. Sitting up nice and tall so you get a deep stretch into that piriformis, holding it there. And bring that leg back down. Bring your right leg up and over, left arm wrapped around, looking towards the right, sitting up nice and tall, stretching out through that piriformis. And bring that leg back down, either coming to sitting, actually one more thing, yeah, come to sitting. So from sitting, going to see if you can take your weight forward into your box position, core engaged, bonus exercise. From here, you're going to take your left leg through the gap between your right arm and leg. Then you're going to bring your weight onto your hands and find your way to your bum. From there, you're going to bring your hands around to the right hand side, bend your right leg, bring yourself around so you're back into your box. Core engaged, we're going to go in the other direction. So right leg through the gap between your left arm and leg, weight on your hands back to your bum, and then bringing your hands around to the left hand side. My mum's getting in a big old knot behind the camera. Left leg is bent. Push your hands and push your weight into your hands and find your way back to your knees. From here, staying on your knees or sitting if that's more comfortable, left hand to the floor, just stretch out through that right hand side. And then right hand to the floor, stretch out through that left hand side. And then we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me this morning.